Okay, now that you understand every singular thing we have learned about the introduction to complex number, we're going to go down to the next, and we're going to be focusing our attention on addition and subtraction of complex number. So let's get rolling together quickly. So when we are talking about addition and subtraction of complex numbers, what are we referring to? Now follow me quickly. That again, what's a complex number first? A complex number is an expression of the form a plus b. We've established that a is the real part and then b is the imaginary part, and we said take on three things. Number one is that a is the real part, your b is the imaginary part, and then your I is the imaginary unit. Are you seeing it now? Now that you get this, follow me quickly. That under the addition and subtraction of complex number that we're going to be dwelling on, hold this tight, that complex number can be added or they can be subtracted by adding or subtracting their real and their imaginary part separately. Now let me break this down to you. If they give me a number, a complex number, two complex numbers to add, you can add their real parts separately and then their imaginary part separately, and then you get your answer directly. I'm going to be showing you every singular trick in doing this. Now let's go. For example, let's say we are given this question to solve. How do we break this down? How do we solve it? Now from this question here, you can see that what we are given here is that our A plus our BI plus our, this is in brackets, are you seeing it now? Plus our C plus our DI. Now this is in brackets. If I'm to solve it, what's it going to become at the end of the day for me? Now this is going to give you something lovely. Just add the normal addition method, A plus your BI plus our C plus our DI. Now this is going to give us automatically our real part. The ones that don't carry I, they are the real part. So I'm going to take my A and then add it to my C. So it's going to give me my A plus C plus now the imaginary parts, bring them together, imaginary. Are you seeing it now? So your BI plus our DI, so you're going to have, and this is going to give us our A plus C, you close the bracket, plus now our B plus our D. Both of them have something in common. What do they have in common? They have I in common. Now this automatically become the final answer, and you can see that this that we have here is directly similar to what we have here, A plus C plus your B plus your D and then I. This is how you solve your complex number. Now get settled as we flow in a series of classes under this. Now look at the next question that we're given here. A lovely and an amazing exam question. Our question 1 says that given that I square is equals to -1, find the value of I raised to the power of 30. Now I'm sure you know how to do this. Look at option A, option B, option C, and then option D. Now let's get rolling. Don't forget quickly that from the last class we've established that if they give us our I raised to the power of 30, how we're going to solve this is very simple. You tell them that is equals to our I raised to the power of 2 first, right? Oh yes. And then you close the bracket. What's your 30 divided by 2? That's going to give you your 15. Is that true? Oh yes. And this is going to give you your I square. What is I square? Don't forget that we said anywhere you see your I square is equal to -1. That's -1, right? So -1 raised to the power of how many there? 15. Now the next question you ask yourself is this: is your 15 an odd number or an even number? 15 is an odd number. -1 raised to the power of an even number is 1. -1 raised to the power of an odd number is -1. Are you seeing it now? So 15 is an odd number, and that's going to give you your -1. And what's the correct answer there? Option C is going to give us the correct answer here. Now look at our question number 2 here. Amazing and a lovely question. We're going to sit down tight and solve this. In question 2 here, evaluate I raised to the power of 18. So how do we solve I raised to the power of 18? They gave us option A, option B, option C, option D. Now let's see it. So what's it going to give us? Our I raised to the power of 18. You can do this for me, right? Yes, it's going to give you pause and then solve it yourself before you play, and then you continue to ensure you are correct. This is going to give you our I raised to the power of your 2, right? All raised to the power of, what is 18 divided by 2? That's going to give you 9. That's going to give you your -1 raised to the power of 9. Of course, -1, what is it? Odd or even number? Odd number, and that's going to give you -1. And that also makes option C the correct answer to this question. Now look at question number 3 here. Hold on a bit. As far as 100 level is concerned, right, for both first and second semester, your complete series of classes, including your practicals, everything from beginning to the end is in the LearnLift app. All you have to do is just march down to your Play Store or App Store and download the LearnLift app. and then you're going to have access to every singular class. So just move down to tertiary, click on tertiary plan, where you're going to see all your classes as far as your 100 level is concerned. And guess what? Your video lessons are there, your CBT is there, you have access to your past questions, you have access to your notes. Very, very important. Man, this semester, you must do well. And let's proceed quickly as we mark down to our class and continue our class. Enjoy. Interesting question 3. Ensure you don't miss anyone here. Question 3 says simplify I raised to the power of 9 plus your 2 I raised to the power of 11 plus I raised to the power of 13. Option A, B, C, D. Now let's see it and then move. This is going to give you, somebody will say, sir, you have changed. This is different from what we have been solving. Oh yes, solve this. Now we're giving our I raised to the power of your 9 plus your 2 I raised to the power of 11 plus our I raised to the power of 13. Now let's solve it gradually one by one and see what it's going to become. This is going to give you your I square first, right? Break everything to I square. So this will be raised to the power of 4, isn't it? Yes, because 2 times 4 is going to give you 8, and then we have 9 here. Left with 1. What's that one that's left there? That's I, right? You remember this? Beautiful. Plus your 2 into brackets. Are you seeing it now? So what am I going to have there? This is going to give you I raised to the power of 11 is what we have been given there. So now solve it gradually. What are we going to have there? That's going to give you, of course, your I square first, isn't it? Yes, that means your I square into what? I square raised to the power of how many? 5, because 2 times 5 is 10, and then we have 11 here. That means we are still left with 1. That means that 1 that is left, I'm going to bring it outside here, and then you close the bracket. Are you seeing it now? Plus, what do we have this to be? Your I raised to the power of 13. What's I raised to the power of 13 going to give us? Your I square raised to the power of how many? 13 divided by 2. Of course, that's 6. Remember 1, because 6 times 2 is how many? 12. That 12, we are looking for 13, so you need 1. So that 1 that's left is going to become your I. Now, are you getting the entire concept? This is going to give you something lovely. What's your I square? I square is minus 1. So your minus 1 raised to the power of how many? 4. Then your I plus your 2 into our bracket. What is your I square? Minus 1. Minus 1 raised to the power of your 5. Then we have our I, right? Close the bracket. Plus, what are we going to have this to be? This is going to give you I square. What's your I square? Minus 1. Minus 1 raised to the power of how many? 6. Right? Then your I. Now gradually solve this for me. This is going to become, what's your I raised to the power of minus 1 raised to the power of 4? Simple. Odd or even number, and that's going to give you your 1. So here is going to be 1I plus. Now what do we have this to be? Minus 1 raised to the power of 5. Odd number, that's minus 1. Minus 1, that means I will have 2 into our minus 1. The whole of this side is minus 1. Then we are left with our I. Minus 1I. Are you seeing it now? Close the bracket. Plus, what are we going to have this to be? Minus 1 to the power of 6. What's minus 1 to the power of 6? That is an even number, and that's going to give you 1. So I'm going to have 1I here. Now this is going to give us our 1I plus 1I. That's your I plus I. I'm breaking it down to the list so that you understand this. So what's your I plus I? That's going to give you your 2I. So 1I plus 1I is 2I. And that 2I now is going to give me, now look at the whole of this here. What is this going to become to us? This is going to give you minus times plus. Of course, it's minus. Your 2 times 1 is your 2, and then your I. Are you seeing it now? So what am I going to have? 2I minus 2I is going to give me 0 at the end of the day. So what's the correct answer there? Option A, which is 0, becomes the correct answer. Now look at the next question that we're given here. Question number 4. Hooray! Ensure that you are getting this for me. Look at exam question 4. Now in our exam question 4, we're given this lovely question option A, B, C, and then D. How do we break this down and then solve it? I want to make mama proud. I want to make mama proud. Now start making mama proud by getting this for me. Now what do we do here? This is going to give us our I raised to the power of 15 plus your 2I raised to the power of 16 minus your 4I. Are you seeing it now? This is going to become our I square. Now what's your 15 divided by 2? 15 divided by 2, of course, is going to give you 7. So I square raised to the power of 7. 7 times 2 is 14, right? And we're looking for 15, so we're left with 1. And that 1 there is going to become our I. Are you seeing it now? Plus what? Your 2 into your I square. Everything must be broken down to I square. Is a must. Now What is your 16 divided by 2 is going to give us our 8, right? Oh yes, minus your 4i. Now what is this going to give us? This is going to give us our I square is your minus 1 raised to the power of 7, and then your I plus your 2 into I square is minus 1 raised to the power of 8 plus, yes your minus 4i. Now what are we going to have this to be? This is going to give us our minus 1 raised to the power of an odd number. That's going to give you minus 1. Minus 1 times your I. Minus 1 times I is going to give you minus I. That minus, I know minus 1 I same thing as minus I, right? Oh yes, you are becoming matured in this. Let's go on. This is going to give you plus what? Minus 1 raised to the power of 8. Of course, that's odd even number, and then you're going to have 1 there, right? 1 times 2 is going to give you your 2 minus, what do we have this to be? 4i. Now, this is what happens there. We are going to bring the real part together first. What's the real part? The part that does not carry I. Bring it first. And that's going to give you the part without I. That's your 2 first, right? That's going to give you 2. What's your minus I minus 4i? Don't forget that this minus I same thing as minus 1i minus 4i. That's going to give you minus 5i. So we're going to have minus 5i here at the end of the day. Now don't forget that we have said that minus I minus 4i is the same thing as minus 1i minus 4i, right? That's going to give you minus. Of course, now you are owing somebody 1, you are owing another person 4. How many are you owing? You are owing minus 5i altogether. So that's how our answer is 2 minus 5i. So where is your 2 minus 5i? You can only find that in your option D, right? That makes option D the correct answer to this question. Now look at the next question very quickly. Question number 5. Yay, we are killing it. Now let's go. Ensure you solve this for me first. Now look at it. Can you pause, try to solve, and then you know what I'm talking about? Look at the options. Option A, option B, option C, option D. Now look at it. Now let's solve this together very quickly. Your I raised to the power of your 50 plus your 3i raised to the power of 62 plus your 4. Hooray! This is going to give you, of course, your I square first, right? Raised to the power of 50 divided by 2, that's 25. There is no remainder there. Plus your 3, right? Then your I square. Now, what's your 62 divided by 2? That's going to give you your 31. Hooray! Plus your 4. Now, let's get rolling. This is going to give you, what's your I square? Minus 1. That's negative 1, right? Raised to the power of your 25 plus your 3 into your negative 1 raised to the power of 31 plus your 4. This is all going to happen. Automatically, this is going to become, what's your negative 1 raised to the power of 25? Of course, 25 is an odd number, so everything automatically here become your negative 1 plus, of course, this is also an odd number, so negative 1. Negative 1 times 3 minus 1 times 3, what's it going to become? Plus, of course, I'm going to have minus 3 there. Okay, let's just say minus, yeah, everything here minus 1 times this 3, that's minus 3, then plus your 4. Are you seeing it now? This is going to become your minus 1, your plus times minus, of course, going to give you minus, right? Yes, minus 3 plus your 4. And this is going to give you, what's minus 1 minus 3? That's minus 4. Minus 4 plus 4 is going to become 0. And what's the answer there? Yay, 0. That is option A, the correct answer to this question.
Hope you've enjoyed this class. Guess what? To follow up for more classes, just download the LearnLift app, whether on Play Store or App Store, and then follow up your classes. You must do extremely well. I'll see you in class. Bye-bye.